So as I was getting together the images I was going to use for this review, I realized that I only really got pictures of King. And if that's not a testament to how adorable he is, I really don't know what else is. So this episode was pretty fun. It's just kind of lighthearted and I'm not going to say not much happens, but not much happens in the episode. I mean, there's a lot of hints of lore stuff throughout, and we're going to go into that. But in terms of the actual events of the episode, not much happens. Like, it starts raining, and it turns out on the Boiling Isles, like, it rains boiling water, which is cool. I mean, I guess there has to be a reason it's called the Boiling Isles. I don't know if that's the reason, but I'm sure it doesn't hurt. Although the rain acts more like acid than it actually does boiling water. But okay, like there's this flower, it gets almost disintegrated on touch. I don't know if that would happen with flowers in boiling water. I don't spend a lot of time putting flowers in boiling water, but that's not really the point of what I'm trying to say. So the episode is really just about them being trapped inside of the Owl House because, it's raining outside and you don't want to die, so let's get inside the house. Ida casts a spell around the thing. That tires her out, so she kind of like goes in and out. She wants to get to sleep. So I guess it's proven that magic does tire the user. Compared to what we've seen Ida do in the past, I didn't think that would be the thing to tucker her out, but I don't know how powerful this protection spell is. I guess it would have to be if it's like blocking boiling water all night or however long it takes. I don't know if the spell goes out after a while. Does she have to turn it off? Does it dissipate? It doesn't tell you. But it turns out that all magic in this world comes from like this heart sac that gives out magic pus juice or whatever they called it. They called it like a magic heart gland, and humans don't have it. So Luce is gonna have to figure out some other way to do magic, and Ida's just like, well, good luck with that. I'm going to sleep. And then King feels ignored by her. They steal a vial of fluid from Ida, and they decide, hey, this must be what gives Ida her magic. So just drink it, Luce. That'll be fine. And I'm sitting here watching it going, no, it won't. You can't just go over to someone's house, even if you live there. You can't just go over into your roommate's room and start popping pills. You don't know what it is. If it's a prescription, or it could have just been alcohol for all they knew. She's a magical owl witch lady. I would not just start drinking things you found in her room. And sure enough, turns out Ida's cursed. Oh, and they try to set up this mystery that like it might be the Snaggleback, and like the Snaggleback took Ida, the Snaggleback being some demon that King is talking about. But it's really not. From the moment you see this thing and you know what they did, you're like, okay, it's Ida. It's Ida. Ida's doing this. Okay, it's Ida. Ida. I'm going to stop saying Ida. But they set up that it's like the Snaggleback, and like it's this demon like King, but then they actually find the Snaggleback, which I wasn't actually expecting, and it's just tiny like snail monkey thing, or like this crab monkey thing. And I like the idea that every single demon that we hear about is just horribly built up in King's mind, and no demon is actually powerful on this world. Like King is a tiny adorable thing, the Snaggleback is a tiny less adorable thing. And I just like the idea that demons just aren't a threat, but they build themselves up to be. I don't know. I just thought that was funny. Turns out that like magic can be done by humans, but it's rune based. So they have to draw a rune and then they can make the magic happen. And that's cool. Magic rune systems have worked in the past. I like magic rune systems here and there. But how did she not see the rune when Ida was first doing it? It doesn't really make sense. But it is a rune-based system, which implies that the magic exists on the world rather than in the individual person. So I guess if you have the magic sack, you can do magic from within and it will tire you out. But the rune-based system means that Luce, if she gets good at it, could just do as many spells as she wants and never get tired, right? An example of this would be like the DMC Devil May Cry game that came out a few years ago. This is not an endorsement for that game, but there's a character in it that like did magic by having spray paint stencils, and if Luce did something like that, then she's golden. She could just be the cat's pajamas, although I doubt that'll work on Earth because I mean, why wouldn't humans have figured that out already, right? Just draw a bunch of symbols, things happen. I don't know. But to me, I kind of took that as that magic doesn't exist outside of the Boiling Isles because I figured humanity would have just we've drawn so many shapes. If magic was going to happen out of any of them, it would have happened already. So the magic just sort of permeates the Boiling Isles. And I guess it's just in the air. Magic does come from nothing. Ida was talking about how people or humans think that magic comes from nothing, but it does come from nothing. Or at the very least, something on the Boiling Isles. So it turns out that potion elixir thing that they took from Ida is like her way of stopping herself from turning into this giant owl creature thing, because apparently she was cursed as a child and she doesn't remember how. She doesn't remember, quote unquote, but there's some stuff later on, like she has a vision or like a memory dream or whatever, and she thinks she knows who it was, or she thinks she remembers, but like she blocks it out. It's repressed, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, that's why they call her the Owl Lady, because if she doesn't drink this elixir every day, she turns into this giant owl monster. That brings up a couple of questions, right? Like, where does she get the elixir from? Does she make it herself? How did she know the elixir would help her? How did she find out about this elixirs? Did the person who cursed her give her the elixirs? If there are only a certain amount of them and eventually she's gonna run out, who's to say? I'm assuming that's really just setting up like her story arc throughout the show, or at least this season. So we'll see what goes on with that. Luce learns rune-based magic, and I'm sure she's going to learn more moving forward. She's going to go through a lot of markers, I'm sure. And that was pretty much the episode. I mean, not much else, really. I mean, Ida destroys the place a bit. The door owl thing gets hurt, but he's fine because they weren't going to get rid of him. And King is still adorable. So, yeah, that's pretty much all that happened this episode, guys. The bit of lore stuff, not much, but, you know, these type of shows take a while. They tease these things moving forward, and I'm excited to see where it's going. She also said, she also said that, like, a witch's staff is infused with magic, but they have to be able to do magic without it, which I think implies that it just boosts their magic. Kind of like Harry Potter, you know, where there are spells you could do without wands, but wands really help you do the more powerful spells, because I suppose otherwise you'd be too weak to pull them off. I don't want to get into Harry Potter's magic system because I think it's kind of broken, but I think it works similarly with Witch's Staff, which I suppose also means if they are infused with magic, once Luce gets her staff, she won't need to use rune magic, right? Or maybe she could draw the magic runes with her staff the same way Ida does with her finger. I don't know. We're just going to have to see moving forward, and I'm excited to find out, guys.